Warning: the following podcast has been rated listener R due to strong language, violent situations, drug references, sexual innuendos, and who knows what else. Listener discretion is advised. With that being said, hang on, sugar tits, because we're about to get wobbled.
If you're driving, please be careful. Get to your destination safely. There's nothing more that I want than that. But if you are at home and you're relaxing right now, get you your nice cold drink. Go ahead and pop the top on that sumbitch. If you have cigars laying around or whatever, get your favorite smoke out, light it up, and let's just kick it. Enjoy this episode, guys, and get wobbled for me.
We're just gonna keep rocking with it and see where this shit goes.
Oh yeah.
So we talked the last episode about what we would tell ourselves being 16, and I loved that episode. That was a great episode. It really did hit home for me, and a lot of the shit that I said was 100% true. But this episode that I want to get to, and I want to say a huge thanks to my girlfriend Kristen, because she's the one that actually brought this up to me. You and I have talked about this in person and just never thought about to put it in the podcast. But she was listening to a podcast that she really likes, and she's like, "This would be great for you guys." So the question Kristen asked me was, why don't you guys sit and talk about how has our job affected you? How has your work affected you?
Oh, in all kinds of ways.
Good and bad.
Goods, bads. Goods apart. The goods about this job that it's taught me is that you don't judge a book by its cover.
You can't judge a book by its cover, but you also see that what really is out there in this world that people talk about.
And that gets in there. You got a mix of different people that you don't get a chance on a normal day-to-day operation to get to see, to get talked to, in the way that we do. And I consider myself before to be a little bit of a judgmental guy.
I was too, absolutely. I was always big. I would used to say, well, you can't judge a book by its cover. But the moment I saw somebody out in public, I was like, well, gee, I'm judging a book by its cover on this person. I'm not going to say exactly what I would say.
100%.
Because a lot of people would probably be pissed off at me. But,
you have that, fuck it.
Oh, it is what it is.
Your butt hurts and quit listening.
That's it.
But
don't bring the lube to the podcast. We'll bring it for you.
Hell yeah. So, and that's really what it is, in that day-to-day, every day, you go out and you're at your local Walmart. It's what we all go to.
Absolutely.
And we're real quick on to see that person and immediately create a judgment, create the story in your head of what you think that person's been through in life. And the good that is done, that this job has done for me, is you don't necessarily know their facts. You don't necessarily know that person, what they've done, what they haven't done, just by looking at them. I've created on my own false judgments, until you talk to them.
Yeah.
You have a conversation with them. Yeah, I'm that person in this environment that I give respect.
I do too.
And
you have to give respect to earn respect. That's just it.
It makes
now at work, I show not a shit ton of respect, but I'm going to give you an inch of respect. Yeah. That way you can see, hey, I'm putting my foot forward here. I'm giving you respect. Don't take my weakness for kindness. I just told a dude this last week. Yeah. He's like, hey, can I heat something? I'll put a flag in this because I can't use this. Yeah. Anyway, there's the pin. But anyway, yeah, don't take my weakness as a or don't take my kindness as a weakness, is what I meant to say.
100%.
But at the same time, it's just, you have no idea what kind of people are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to judge a book by its cover because I don't know Joe Schmo shopping in the grocery store.
Right.
I don't know.
And you still don't know.
Right. Yeah, you never, unless you sit and talk to the guy, you're never going to know.
And in a lot of scenarios, judge a book by its cover, and get you out of a fucking bad situation or your family member. So, I'm real bad at it.
Oh, yeah.
The lady at the start of the month, in PJs in Walmart with a bunch of kids. You know, like, you judge that.
Right.
And you know, and you save yourself. But at the end of the day, how do we know her life? How do we know what she's been through?
Right.
This dude's obviously got some issues. This guy is literally on a motorcycle from the house, riding, talking a bunch of shit.
Who's he talking to, bud?
Himself. He's the only one on that damn motorcycle, y'all.
Don't judge a book by its cover, but that dude looks a little fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a little bit different than a book, you know. That kind of played into what we're
fucking
saying.
great.
How ironic.
I hope the microphone picked that guy up screaming.
Absolutely. This guy's on a motorcycle all by himself. It's after dark, coming down a country road, just bitching.
Sound like he was yelling at somebody on the back of the bike,
Absolutely.
but there's only one dude on that bike.
I thought I was going to have to push the mic away, thinking there's a chick on the back of that bike. He's about to fucking do something he shouldn't be doing.
Hardcore talking to himself.
Hardcore himself on the bike, only him. So,
but here's the thing I've noticed too about my job is, and even in Walmart, and I hate, it's kind of good and it's kind of bad in the same breath. I'm always aware of my surroundings.
Yes.
I know what's going on around me, whether I want to or not.
Yep.
I know where people are. I can't have my back to somebody for too long.
Yep.
Even if I know this lady's just grabbing a gallon of milk, if I haven't checked on her in a hot minute to make sure she's still at the gallon of milk, I'm gonna take a peek.
Mm-hmm. And I think it has a lot to do from experience. I'm the exact same way. It's ironic because I don't think this is something we really touched on, outside of this. I'm the same way. Restaurant, you go into a restaurant, I never set my back to a door.
I can't do it.
And
I have to people watch. And that part of me I don't like, because it does draw my attention away, especially if I'm with Kristen or if I'm with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
It draws my attention away from them and towards other people. I'm also horrible at ear hustling. And
Yep.
I told you I wanted to tell this story. We were at Zambezi Bay at the front of the line waiting to get into the water park that day. And I am looking directly at you. I'm focused. My eyes are focused on you.
Yep.
And I didn't hear a fucking word you said because I was listening to another conversation that was going on just to the left of me.
Right.
And I thought it was hilarious because my girlfriend had no idea what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
But you picked up on it so fast that you snapped your fingers in my face and said, "Hey, Elliot, we're not at work, buddy."
No.
It's horrible. I can't shut it off.
And that's the bad.
Oh, it is bad. Because
the
it does.
bad
It draws my focus away. I'm not at work. I shouldn't have to be on that level.
It's good at work, bad in your personal
Absolutely.
life.
But you can't shut it off. Try to. You can't.
And in some sense in this world, it's a tool, that's been added to our belt, especially those with kids, a wife that we love and want to protect.
Right.
So you do see a lot more things than what you typically did before. But it's those things. That's the bad. I said the good is not judging a book by a cover, and again, you can not judge a book by its cover, and that person's still a shitbag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in this situation, we're trying to enjoy time outside of that place, and this is why it turns into the bad, because we're with our kids. Well, I guess you could slash good, because we are with friends, family, kids, wife, around a bunch of people we don't know.
Right.
We don't know what they're doing, what they've done, what their hidden agenda is.
But then when I do it with my family.
Yeah.
I'm at a family event and I'm ear hustling. I can't help it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the ironic part about this, that you say this, is, and I've told you, and you all, that I dear my wife. I love her very much.
She's an amazing person. I will say that for you. She's a great person.
The one thing that drove me nuts about this girl when we got together is she ear hustled naturally. We go to a restaurant and she's got amazing talents, because you can talk to her and she ear hustles and she knows word for word verbatim what the hell you said, because I've done that.
Right.
Snap my fingers like, hey, look, it's me and you, not me and you and 10 other families sitting around us. her is, you know, the woman drama,
Right.
to know everything,
Absolutely.
head shitting, you know, and I busted her butt for a long time for that. To now, I'm sitting at a restaurant, we're sitting at a restaurant, and I'm doing more of the ear hustling than she is.
Right.
You know,
I can tell you exactly what those two people were talking about for the last 45 minutes, but I can't tell you a fucking thing that you said to me.
100%. You know, that's where
But she can tell you what your conversation was, what theirs was, and the waiter was saying up at the staff.
she is on point with it.
Oh, she's on
If I
point.
possess that tool, man, I'm very powerful.
Right.
Telling
I
you.
wish I could. I wish I
point.
could buy it for sure, because I definitely would invest in that.
Maybe.
But I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a one conversation kind of guy, and 9 times out of 10, it's not you and I conversation; it's somebody else's over there.
See how this all comes to play? We're a team. You know, you, your wife, your woman, we're a team. She's got that good tool. I got my tools.
Right.
We bring together.
Our tools are still rusty, but goddamn it, they still turn bolts.
Yeah, mine ain't rusty. I owe it every day.
Well, listen, when you got a 3-inch tool, it just doesn't fucking do the job for every fucking nut and bolt, but it's the angle you hit it from. Anyway, but yeah, that's definitely one of those things. Ear hustling, I can't turn off, and I can't say it's a bad thing because it hasn't saved me in a situation yet.
Right.
But at the same time, I've heard some shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, am I cool being here?
Yeah. And you pull in here, or you worry about, you know, the woman sitting across the table that the dude's telling. You know, you find yourself in a pretty bad spot sometimes. But when it comes to that, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, your responsibility is yourself, your wife, your family, not others.
That's
you
it.
know, not saying if something did go down right there on the spot.
I'm going to do everything I can, but at the end of the day, if shit's going to hit the fan,
Yep.
me and my family are going to be away from the fan. Sorry if you're in front of the fan, but I would have helped you if I could. But at first, I'm going to get me and my family out of that fan.
Right. Yep. And that's right on point. But we go from ear hustling because that's what we are trained to do. That's our job,
right?
You know, to do every day, to try to catch the upper hand, that edge, you know, over the situation, try to get ahead of the game. But we also, you know, when we ain't talking about ear hustling, we're talking about gestures.
Oh yeah,
movements.
I have
movements, eye movements,
hand movements. I'm always looking to see what is in your hand.
Yep.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if I know you. I don't care if you're my best friend. I don't care you right now. It doesn't matter to me. If I have got to know what your hands are doing, and if people talk with their hands, it doesn't bother me because I talk with my hands a lot. But I still have to see what's in them. You know.
Yeah.
And your movements. If you move your body a certain way, I'm going to question why you did it, whether it's a natural movement for you or not. I don't give a shit.
Right. And then at the end of the day, is it a natural movement?
Yeah.
You know, because...
Or are you trying to hide something?
What we learn throughout our paying day is that a lot of the times it's not a natural movement, you know, and then we're forced to look into it. You know?
And I don't do this so much out in public, but I definitely do it at work. And I know you do too, so I'm going to go ahead and mention this. I watch who you talk to.
Yeah.
Not so much out in work because I can't focus on that too much, but especially in work. If 3 of the same guys talk to each other at the same time, at the same place, every single day, and then I catch another guy talking with some dude that he hardly ever talks to,
yeah.
And he's talking to him for 2 hours at a time, and they're moving,
yep,
that's a red flag.
100%.
But that's just our job. It's what we do.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't do that in public, but I know Kristen absolutely. She makes fun of me when I ear hustle at a restaurant because she knows that I like sitting with my back towards the wall and seeing other people. And she knows that I like to ear hustle. So we're sitting there ordering appetizers, whatever. She's eating her appetizer. I'm fiddling with my straw paper or whatever, and I'm just wandering off. And I finally catch a gaze back to her, and she is smiling ear to ear, just laughing. And I'm like, "Are you cool?" She's like, "I'm just watching you ear hustle." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just can't fucking help it. It's how it is." I mean, and I need to know my surroundings too. Even if I'm in an unfamiliar place, I like to know around about where I'm at. I don't have to, because she had mentioned this too. There's a couple police officers saying that if they're going on a trip, like let's say I went to Tennessee, which I've never been down to Tennessee. You just come back. But let's say I'm going to Tennessee. I need to know the route that I'm taking I need to know if this road's closed, what road can I use to go around it? Like the cops feel that way. I'm not that kind of person, but once I get to a place, I need to know my surroundings. I need to find out where I'm at. What can I do if shit hits the fan? It's part of the, I don't know why I set a timer for 5 minutes. I don't even last that long in bed. But anyway, I just have to know my surroundings. I got to know where I'm at and what's going on around me. And I guess it all just falls in with the shit that I've learned at work.
Yeah. I mean, it really does. And I don't know, now that we're sitting here talking about it, I don't know if you can categorize this as good, bad, because there's different views. There's
absolutely, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you can take from it. You know, that it depends on who
it's
you
all
are
good and
as
bad.
an
Yeah,
individual. You know, me, I have a high priority of protecting my family.
Yeah,
and I know what kind of shit world that we live in.
Exactly,
and we all hear it, and then there's no reason for us to talk about it. But you know, I have a beautiful wife, I have a beautiful daughter, and I have 3 younger boys. You know, we know today what goes on. And
absolutely.
What happens,
and the people outside know what's going on, but you and I definitely know.
Oh, yeah.
For sure know.
Yeah, it's a real thing, and it happens. I promise you. You see it, and the situation every day.
Yep.
You know, and that adds fuel to my fire that I already had. Really, you know, not only do you see it, you hear about it, but now I know it's real life.
You don't know the kind of people you interact with every other day. And I told my dad and I were actually talking about this today because I take him out. He's wheelchair bound. It's a long story. Him and I will get on a podcast eventually, and he'll tell you his backstory. But I take my dad out to the grocery store once a week normally. And because I used to be a truck driver too, I'm very particular about how I drive. If I'm going to let you merge onto the interstate, there's a rule. 1. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let one guy merge. Second guy tries to merge, I'm cutting you off.
Yep.
You wait your turn. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, there's
a limit.
There's a limit. There's rules that you follow. There's no place for road aggravation.
Right.
You know?
And to get back that brings it back too, because my dad said, why don't you just let this guy in? You're not in that big a hurry. We're just chilling today. I'm like, that's just the way it's one. You know, I was in a truck. I had to make my own room. You're in a little SUV. You can wait. It's my little ass truck. Just wait to get behind me. There's plenty of room behind me. But Dad's like, you know, what if this lady just got furious that you cut her off and you wouldn't let her merge? And she road rages and puts your ass in a ditch. And I didn't realize that until I started working where I work. Anybody could do that at any fucking time. They don't give 2 fucks about you.
Well, these days, it's the gun.
Yeah,
it's the gun. That's
absolutely, because now in Ohio, it's open carry.
It's open carry,
and you don't have to go through a class. You carry the way you want to carry now.
You know, you probably shouldn't be worrying about being driven off the road. You probably should worry about
bullet in your head
shot through your back window.
No shit.
You know, it's some serious stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a lot of people that don't take.
Now, don't get me wrong. Stevens and I are not sitting here telling you you should let everybody in traffic because you never know who's going to hold a gun to you. But you just, when you work in a place like we do, you hear those stories.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad that you say that because, you know, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of negativity in what we do.
Even now. Absolutely.
You know, and then, you know, people like you and I and many others that serve, you know, are very disrespected. You know, and are hated on. So it's nice to hear every once in a while that somebody appreciates
absolutely
what we do.
And it's not just us. It's fire, it's police, it's EMS. You know, everybody's always scared to get pulled over by the cops. But let me tell you something. If you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to worry about with the cops.
No.
I don't care what color you are. Black, red, brown, fucking purple, green. It doesn't fucking matter.
Everybody's got a job to do.
Absolutely.
You know, and yeah.
And yeah, if I'm speeding 5 miles an hour over, fuck, I was only doing 5. But you know what? It's your fucking job to pull me over.
Yeah, it's your job to pull me over because I was doing 5 miles per hour over the speed limit.
Yeah.
Although most days I would say that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But in the hindsight of it, we know what the rules are.
At the end of the day, you rolled the dice, motherfucker.
Yeah. Said. You rolled the dice.
Yeah.
You know, so if you don't want a fucking $80 speeding ticket, and talking with the cop. Don't do it.
Is
Don't
it worth
break the
being?
law.
Is it worth being 5 minutes late for work if you go the speed limit, or are you going to try to make it to work on time? Be 30 minutes late because you got pulled over and you've got a fine to pay on top of
Oh, exactly. In a lot of situations, I find that you're paying on top of that, it's worth a day's work.
that. No shit.
You know, and
Yeah.
we got too many other things and shit to take care of
Right.
than worry about that stuff.
Absolutely.
Am I guilty of speeding? 100%.
100%.
I'm not one to sit here and tell you that I do not speed.
Yeah.
I speed every day. You know, I break the rules.
Right.
But I'm also
But
not
you
gonna,
roll the dice.
I roll the dice. But I'm not going to argue with the cop that comes to my window and tells me that
Exactly.
I was speeding. That's
Exactly.
the difference.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got a rule.
Yep.
That cop's got a job to do. Your job is to sit there and respect the law that you broke.
Yep.
Not to argue with that guy and for it to turn into an altercation that it didn't need to turn into.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't see this way either. I am extremely guilty of it. I'll say this right to your face. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I believe Ohio is a hands-free state when you're driving a vehicle. You cannot pick up your phone whether it's an emergency or not.
I do believe that. I think I've heard it somewhere.
So if you pick up your phone to look at the lock screen to see that your old lady said, hey, just checking where you're at, that cop has every right to pull you over.
100%.
Sorry that you're pissed off, but you rolled the dice.
Yeah. You don't
Absolutely,
have to drive.
yeah.
You don't have to drive. You know, fucking walk. Take a cab. Take Uber.
Absolutely.
Uber is big these
Huge
days,
thing
you know?
now.
So,
Not big in our area, but absolutely.
It all comes down to it. You want to roll the dice, pay the consequence,
It's the same thing with drinking and driving.
and then you can learn from there. Keep
Absolutely.
doing it, or
Are you going to roll the dice? I could probably make it home, but
Yeah.
whose life are you going to put in jeopardy on the way home?
Yep.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the perfect child and I've fucking done it by the rules. I've rolled the dice.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Thank God I haven't gotten fucking.
I like gambling,
Yeah,
but you know, there's a fine line.
there is. Absolutely.
You know, just trying to put it out there. You know, even our profession and everybody else's profession, not preaching to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. The statement here to make is, sure, there's bad apples. There's bad apples. There's cops. There's
Absolutely.
bad, you know, but not all of us are bad.
Right.
There's a lot of us that are good and trying to do the right thing. You
Yep.
roll the dice, you pay the consequence.
Absolutely.
Don't argue with that fellow. You know, and you take your ticket and you roll on.
And even if you feel you're in the right, there's always easy ways to go around it
There's a courtroom.
Exactly.
Not
They
out.
have a system set up for you to use your rights, and it's not right there on the traffic stop.
It's not at midnight
No,
when it's dark.
Right.
When there's a lot of immediate threat.
because that cop's doing the same thing that you and I do. His sense is heightened. He doesn't
Yes.
know who he's dealing with. He has no fucking clue who the fuck
Yep.
you are.
and that's natural. You know,
Absolutely.
when you're dealing with an individual that you don't know, the same kind of people that when we judge a book by its cover in a Walmart, you know, that's the same play
Yeah,
as you're walking up to that car.
exactly.
I don't have no experience with that, but doing what I'm doing, I can understand that fella's job
Right.
a lot more now. You know,
Exactly. Yep.
we kind of do it just in a different set.
I wanted to take this little bit of time real quick. I just want to thank anybody out there that is listening to this. I know some of my Warthog brothers listen to it, and they're all police, fire, EMS, any kind of public safety. And I speak for Stevens and myself when I say this. I want to thank anybody that puts on a uniform in the morning and goes out and does whatever you do, whether you get paid or not. That's police, fire, EMS, doctors, nurses, dispatch. I mean, lawyers even, judges. If you put on a suit and you go out and you do your job to just get through an 8-hour shift, and a lot of people will just work a straight 8 in a regular job and be like, oh, I made it. I can make through that 8-hour shift. But if you put a uniform on and you're doing everything you can just to, and an 8-hour shift is fucking light.
That's light.
That's light.
And everybody's in everything that was just named. That's a light work.
That's
day.
a light work day.
Yeah,
That's gravy day. If you work an
Doctors
8.
are working 24 hours. Nurses are
Right.
working 12 to 16 hours a day.
Yep.
You know, we work 16 hours a day sometimes. You know, it's just, but, you know, yeah, absolutely. You know, big shout out to all those people with that have an important role in society. Because the next question that you have to ask is, what will we do without them? You
Absolutely.
know, what would happen if we didn't have cops? What would happen if we didn't have firefighters? What would happen if you didn't have a nurse taking care of you in a bed or a doctor diagnosing you and saving your life?
Because just as easy as it is for you to quit your 8-hour job, it is that much easier for the person who wearing that uniform to say, "Fuck this place, I'm
Absolutely.
done."
And then the same thing goes with cops. You know,
Defund the police went around hard.
you know,
Fuck defund the police. Those guys deserve every penny they get, if not
absolutely.
$5, $10 more.
Yeah, we want to be men. We stand our ground, you know, but we don't know what reality is, you know. And I speak that. I'm kind of like that. I'm man. I stand my ground. I will protect my home, but it's going to cost. You know, you can't. If I have 6 people in my household, at some point, maybe it could cost. But we're talking about defunding police, and somebody breaks into my home. Who do I have to call? I don't have anybody to call. Granted, it may take them a little bit to get here, but I know all I gotta do is hold the situation off for a little bit until we get here. Or your house is broken into when you got home from vacation. Who you gonna call? I mean, if
Ghostbusters ain't showing up, bud.
Ghostbusters definitely.
You know, if there's no cop, no person that is sitting there making you abide the law, then we're talking purge level stuff.
Right.
You know, how many lives are we going to lose?
Exactly.
Including yours or your family's.
Yep.
You know, I get it. There's some bad things, and the news has a great way of pointing out all the bad, and what they fucking fail at is pointing out all the good.
That's the thing I was just getting ready to say. I don't even watch the news anymore because all they want to do is report what they want the world to see. You know, you never hear about the good stories that, you know, some dude's got life got saved because he shot somebody in Walmart,
right,
who was attempting to kill everybody.
Yep.
But you're definitely going to hear about that guy who shot 40 fucking people in Walmart.
Yep.
And how guns are. I'm just not even going to fucking get into it.
Guns are the problem.
I
will. I'll get.
I know
into
you
it,
will, and I should too. But
that's a different day.
I know. Yeah, it's a whole fucking podcast
but
episode
real
or
quick,
two.
You know, I fucking hate that subject, man.
I
I'm a gun lover. I love guns.
I think everybody should at least have a little bit of background on guns.
Yeah.
If you want to protect your family and you want what's best for your family. Now, Kristen is bad about it. I don't know if she just has a bad thing with guns. But I know I've told you this before. I am not going to beg for my life at any moment, at any time. Right. I'm going to fight till the end. And if you want to kill me, you're going to have to go through me first. Kristen, she said, I'll fucking hunker in the corner. I'll beg you for my life. Fuck this. I ain't fighting. I'm like, why? I got fucking guns that aren't locked up. They're super easy to get to. You pull the trigger, it goes bang. You pull the trigger again, it goes bang again. If it doesn't, shake something, pull something, do something.
But the reality of that is who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Some people can't do it.
I do understand that.
You know, if I can do anything when it comes to my family.
Right.
You know, and nothing's going to stop me. You know, but there is the consequence that you pay. And God forbid that situation ever happens to anybody, you know, and I'm sorry if it did or it has happened to somebody, you know, but it's real. It is things that should be talked about.
Absolutely.
And people should take steps to understand and go into. But again, this is a whole different podcast.
Absolutely. And I know we're gonna get past this in a minute. I do like Ohio's decision that everybody has the right to carry. I believe that.
And
but
not only right to carry,
but
a
right to stand your ground. Absolutely.
Yep.
But I feel like you should at least go through the concealed carry class that I went through was amazing. I mean, granted,
Absolutely.
I knew what I needed to do to make that gun work.
Yep.
But there was a girl in my class that hadn't even held a firearm at that point.
Right.
And I'm like, you're giving this lady a firearm in her hand to defend her house. By all means, go ahead.
Yep.
Just let me know how many holes you put through the fucking walls before you hit what you want to hit.
Yeah, and then that speaks light or great, I guess. My wife went, you know, through concealed carry class with myself, and she has maybe touched a gun once.
Right.
Was very afraid of it, but she also sees what this world is coming to, and she also loves and wants to protect her family too. But throughout the knowledge that you received, and the education that you received from these classes, you know, she felt comfortable with holding a gun. So she held that gun, and come to find out, towards the end of this weekend, she's a great shot.
Right.
Great shot. and she would be my number one to have my back,
Right.
for sure. And that's not going to be the scenario for everybody, every situation, but again, that, that's the world that we live in,
Right.
and people fall away from it because it hasn't happened to them or their family member
Right.
or anybody close to them.
But that
But
all
it
wraps
is happening.
right. That all wraps back to you and I just said. You never know who you're dealing with in public.
Never know.
You never know.
So that guy or those people that say defund police, go fuck yourself.
Right.
And I
I
say
believe
that
that
very
wholeheartedly.
politely.
Yeah.
We need that as right along with nurses and doctors and corrections officers and public servant people.
Right.
This world would be upside down.
And not just even that, but even how much the world has changed since
Oh,
you and I
Lord.
were kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you imagine what it's going to be like when your kids are our age?
Dude, 100%. When I was a kid, come back at dark time.
Right.
If
the street lights are on, you should be home.
Yeah.
Or
Today,
on your way home at least.
today, I don't let my kids out of my sight.
Yeah.
So that plays a role. I would love for them to be like, "Hey, catch you at dark time. Come
Right.
back for dinner."
Absolutely.
But I can't do it. I can't do it. I love that part of my childhood. I come home, do my homework, do the important shit, the chores and the gay shit. But then you went out, you went play with your buddies, backyard football. Just make sure you're home at dark.
Right.
That was the rule. And I can't do that. I can't. My kids stay in my yard. And that's kind of contrary. Goes to Beezy Bay. That's me. I let the boys go off and do their thing. But what did I say?
Right.
Every hour you come and check with me.
Right.
So I'm trying to let it happen. I'm trying to find the good in people in this world that we live in to try to make sure our kids live a kid life. You know what I mean? But it's hard these days, and without people to be there to help us,
Right.
we ain't gonna do it. This
Right.
world would be upside down without people.
It really would. It would be upside down without public safety
Yes.
too. I mean, if you sit back and you think, where would, like you said, where would we be without the police officers? Where would we be without the corrections officers?
I mean, I could definitely do without.
Oh, I could see the good and bad for sure. but that's
Well,
people who've
nah,
worked
I
in there.
mean, kind
But
of throwing that hee hee ha ha
right.
bullshit in there. I could definitely do without some
Right.
doctor sticking their finger at my fucking asshole. Because that's where I'm at
Right.
now. I'm mid-30s.
Right.
Don't like to be there, and I'm not.
Sorry, bud. You're right around the
I
corner.
haven't went and done that crap yet, but I could do without a doctor doing that. But
Got to see if your old lady will do it for you. She figure
you
it
know
out.
what? It's not a bad idea, but probably not favorable.
Probably not.
I don't
Because
know.
it's gonna be hee hee ha ha for her too.
Definitely
She
for
ain't
her.
just going in there checking the prostate. She's checking the oil. She's checking
She's
the
going for it
transmission
all.
line.
I gave her the green light. She is going for it. But yeah, I
like you
mean,
said, are you gonna end up laying in a hospital bed without a doctor to come in and check on you or a nurse to come in and check on you? If you just get sick, are they gonna say, "Well, fuck it, he tried, he lived his best life"?
broken vein. Sorry, trying to get this cigar lit up, but
How is that Hoyo de Monterey, by the way?
great. It's amazing.
They
It's
are
pretty
great smokes.
good.
I love them.
But yeah, I mean, broken bones. I guess we all could teach ourselves some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we will probably get that argument. Doctor has knowledge of that, so can we. The fact of it is none of us know, and I don't. Some people probably do, I guess. I don't. I don't know what what it feels like to be close to death.
Right.
And what I can imagine is I could probably sit here and I do because I'm be honest, contrary, my wife's a nurse and everything else. I hate hospitals. I don't like doctors.
Right.
I don't like that.
It's just a sign of
environment.
weakness. It's the guy in us.
Yeah, I don't
We're
like it.
weak and we need somebody to take care of us. That fucking.
But
I hate
even
it.
I know better.
Yeah.
That if my life was coming to an end, I would want somebody that knew what the hell they're doing
Absolutely.
to fucking take care of me.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we need those people.
Right.
But and that's falling into our topic, good and bad.
Right.
We can see points of view, I guess, from different angles of it. But that's the good and bad
Right.
about our profession, what we do, what we choose to do,
Right.
and everybody else. And, so can you take a good and bad from the things, we've already touched on, we ear hustle
Yeah.
at restaurants, sitting with our family. We watch people's movements, their gestures. Don't judge a book by its cover. All those things can be construed. It could be good, it could be bad. It's good to have
Absolutely.
those qualities. It's bad to have them. There's a lot of good and bad. I think the bad part about what we do is knowing too much. And I say that because we get the unpleasant experience of not only getting to know an individual, but to really get to know
Yeah.
that person and their entire history
Yep.
and what they've done. And I find myself on many days wishing that I didn't read that. I didn't
Oh,
look into
the first
it.
thing they tell you to do is not look into it, and
Don't do it.
and then when they tell you not to, you're like, oh, I'm fucking looking into
I'm
this.
definitely looking at it,
Hell yeah.
especially when you run into a problem. When you run into a problem, you do
I've
your
done
homework.
the same thing.
Absolutely. Everybody does their homework, and
Yep.
so that's what you do. And unfortunately, I think that's a bad because I come home and I think about it. And why do I come home and think about it? Because I got wife, I got 4 kids, and it just told me
How
that
easy could it have been for you to cross that dude's path in Walmart?
exactly what you're being told and what you see and everything that's going on.
Yep.
It's now reality.
Oh yeah.
It for sure.
Yep.
100% without a doubt, proven fact in front of my fucking face on a daily basis. It's there.
And it really does. It shows you the opposite side of this world.
Yeah, it does. And it shows you reality. It shows you it's there.
Yeah.
And it's present and it's every day. It's not like it's the same individuals. Every day we get a new person.
Right. Always
Numerous
getting new people. Always.
people, by the numbers.
Yep.
So it's there. It's happening. So that's bad for me. I don't. Some things are better left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Untold. The untold
But
stories.
and I can't help it either. I'm gonna sit here and tell you the same thing. I do my homework. I hate that I do it, but
But we
I
have
have
to.
questions because anybody's gonna lie to you. Obviously, in that profession,
It's
anybody's
not,
gonna tell you what you want to hear.
not only lying. It's the whole world of manipulation.
Yeah.
And we're heading into another bad. Manipulation at its finest.
Yep.
We see it. We deal with it, and it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. They're good at it. It happens, and I don't know about you, but I find myself on a day-to-day basis on both sides, in and out of catching yourself manipulating a situation.
I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear, so that way I can get what I want as my
Mhm.
end result. And it's funny that you say that because you and I are getting ready to take a crisis intervention training
Yes,
coming
sir.
up. And basically, for those who don't know what crisis intervention is in the state of the work that we do, at the end of the day, during any scenario where we work, we're going to get what we want. That's just it. I'm sorry that, you may not like the outcome, but here's where we're at. We can take path A, we can take path B. I don't care how we get there, but we're going to get to the finish line my way. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and in the hindsight of it, we're trained to catch it,
Yeah.
see it, find it, but we're also being manipulated by manipulators.
Yeah.
And in turn, teaching us how to manipulate. And I caught it. What was going on, or I'd probably say my wife. Of what was going on, and I've recently put a lot of touch in making sure I don't do that, and part of that is by not talking about this stuff. When I come home,
it
it's
is
nothing
so
that they need to know.
Exactly. And a lot of people, I found this out. A lot of people at work will tell us, do your 8, go home,
Yep.
don't talk about this place. But I've found for me, it's beneficial. You have to. In the fire department world, when you see tragedy and you see these things, in the police world, I'm sure, but even in the corrections world, when you see things go on, it is so easy to sit down with you because you have that background the same as I have that background. But for me to fill somebody in who doesn't have that background, it would take me 3 days to get you caught up just to tell you what I need to tell you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I can sit down with you, and in 5 minutes, I can have this conversation, and you know exactly where I'm at, what I'm doing, and what steps I took to get there. So I find it's very beneficial to talk about what we do at work, and that's what blows my mind is I can't do this on the podcast because there's other COs that I know that listen to this. But at the end of the day, I mean,
Well, we both have our personal feelings about it too.
absolutely,
Our
everybody does.
personal feelings get involved, and Lord
Yeah.
knows I have my share that I could talk about and
Right.
say. But I got respect. Again, going back to roll the dice. I got the respect for why our employer does and sets in policies and rules that they do. But on our side, it's not always cookies and cream.
Nope.
It's really not. And
I wish it was. I wish we could go in 8 hours a day and fucking glide through it, but it's never going to be that way.
But you know what? It comes back on it's a choice.
Yeah.
I have a choice not to do this shit.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I do it. And there's reasons why.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to get into all those reasons.
Yep.
But it takes a lot. And that's what I think a lot of people need to hear is that it takes a lot for individuals to do what they're doing. Being a nurse, being a corrections officer, being a cop, being an EMT, running into a fucking burning building.
Yeah.
While it's completely engulfed to save a life.
Yep.
That's a choice. That guy is not bound to that. He is not stapled to what the hell he does not have to do that.
Right.
But he's doing it. He chooses to do it. And he's got great reasons on why he's doing it. We have great reasons on doing what we do. Or we
Right.
wouldn't fucking do it.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know as well as I do, it don't matter. You work at a fucking Walmart or there's bullshit everywhere.
Everywhere. You're never going to get away from it.
It is what it is. And you're left with choices, but also what you're left with is personal opinions.
Yeah.
And that's what we have.
But I will say this. I never thought in a million years, because my dad worked at where I work at now before I got there. And my dad always told me, he's like, it's not the place you want to go. It's really not. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The money was right. I needed a job at the time. I wanted to get into doing something different. Do I love what I do, Stevens?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't.
I do not wake up every morning and go, fuck yeah, I'm putting this uniform on.
Right.
It doesn't make my dick hard in the morning.
It did on the first day.
It did on the first day. I thought it was cool as shit.
Oh, yeah.
But the second day, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what did I just get
Yeah.
myself into?
But I do like what I do. I mean, I can tolerate it. I mean, I am settling with this job, but it pays my bills for sure. It takes well care of me. And it has its difficult days. I'll say that.
Just as anything.
Just as anything else.
Right.
But it's a job that I can see myself doing for a little bit for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I can see myself doing this for long term.
I could too.
There's always going to be things that come up and try to get in that way. Policies, rules, personal things, but long term thing, I mean, in the hindsight that we're not really going to get into, how many bad things can I'm not breaking my back.
I'll do what my job calls me to do, but I'm not gonna.
And that's really what our job is calling us to do.
Exactly.
Anymore. But we have a choice. You have a
Yeah.
choice. I have a choice. I can say fuck this job.
Yep, sure
and go
could.
somewhere else.
And I don't have to put a 2 weeks notice in. Fuck
Yep.
that place.
Yep.
If I wanted to quit today, I'd call in and say, hey, I'm bringing my uniforms in. Sorry.
The reality of it is, good pay, not hard work compared to what I'm used to. Hey,
Right.
we're comparing, tomatoes to apples.
Right, exactly.
Where,
Construction jobs that you and I did,
construction,
working on trucks, driving
mechanics,
trucks.
heat,
Yep.
outside elements. There's a lot of variables here. Flipping burgers.
Yeah.
I mean, what we do sucks on days.
Yeah.
But it has its goods.
Absolutely.
It has its bads. And I've wanted to throw my hands up a couple times. Really
I've
have.
wanted to wash my hands with that place.
Schedule sucks. Rules.
Yeah.
What it comes down to is change.
Yeah.
The world is changing, so is everything else.
And it's like anything else and any other change in your life. It doesn't matter whether it's a change for the good or a change for the bad. You're going to piss somebody off because it is a change. You've
And
been
then,
so used to doing this for
right,
so long, and then they throw a wrinkle in what you've been doing, whether it's for the good or for the bad, and
right.
you're like, "What the fuck?
What the fuck?
It was working. Why are we fixing it? We're not the boss," is what you're trying to say. We're not.
We're
Yeah,
not the boss. So who are we to say, you know? And I'm real big on you have a choice.
absolutely.
You know, we make the choice to do this.
Right,
Everybody's gonna bitch about it. Everybody's gonna cry about it. Everybody's gonna have opinions, good and bad.
right,
You know, but at the end of the day, we're getting paid.
right,
I'm helping my wife support our children with a roof and food on her. Health insurance as a very reasonable cost.
right,
You know, and very lenient on holidays, pay time off.
right.
You know,
If you can get it, but when you do get it, it's yours to take.
well, you're that low guy.
And everybody's that's the one thing I hated about moving to this new job was I wasn't the low guy on the totem pole in my last job. I was in the middle somewhere. But I knew I'm like, man, when I take this new job, I'm gonna be the
At the bottom.
fucking in the mud
Yep.
for sure.
Hmm.
And it sucks, but
Rightfully so.
yeah,
You know.
everybody's got to start at the bottom.
Yep. Nobody. It's not an.
And I'm not
unfair-
expecting to be that guy at the top.
No. No, absolutely not. You know, you earn and fight your way there.
Yeah.
You know.
Anything worth having is worth fighting for.
But
If it's
absolutely.
not worth having, then you don't
Fuck
need
it.
it that bad.
Go
You
do
don't need to
something
fight that
else.
hard for it. Yeah.
Yep.
But if you want it bad enough, and that's another big life lesson, I guess, if you want to throw that in there too, it all comes back to what I said earlier. What you pay into is the same thing you're going to get out.
Yep.
So why spend $1 and expect something to be coming out worth $1 million?
Yeah.
If you're going to put your effort into it and you're going to put everything you have into it, that's what you're going to get in return.
Hmm.
So why put shit effort into something and expect it to come back looking any better?
Right. You're 100% right. You know, it's things that falls into what are you teaching your kids?
Right.
You know, if you yourself ain't going and putting 100% effort into what you're doing, you know, you're relaying that to your children.
Absolutely.
Then your children are growing up with that, thinking that's the know-how, and your children are failing.
And I know we're running short on time, but this is why. And I know you do it because I've seen you. I've seen your old lady. I've seen your kids. So I know this happens. And you can look at any family and see it. I'm so glad my dad spanked me as a kid. I am thankful for that. So thankful.
I'm thankful that I got an ass whooping. Do I think
But I
an ass
definitely
whooping is necessary?
Fuck yes.
100%.
If you're listening to this podcast, you better beat your kids on the ass at least once.
Beat their ass.
Beat that ass. Because if you won't, call me. I'll give you my phone number. Me and Dad, we go to stores all the time together now, and we
God.
look at each other when somebody else's kid's throwing a fit, and I already know what he's thinking. He knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if you want me to beat your kid's ass for you, I'll do it right here in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'll love it. I'll love every minute of it.
In those situations, you know, I sit there and I'm like, boy, if I was my kids, I'd whoop their fucking ass.
Yep, in front of God and everybody.
Exactly. But at the same time, it gives me appreciation.
It
what I'm
does,
doing
absolutely.
And how I'm handling. My kids ain't racking shit off the fucking shelves, sticking things in their pocket, screaming and yelling and acting a damn fool. My kids are right there, helping and listening.
Right.
You know, so there's a difference there in how
Absolutely, yeah,
kids are brought
And
up.
like I said, I don't have kids, but I'm so excited to finally, whenever the time's right, I'm looking forward to having a kid because I know that somebody told me once, you probably see it, your kids act the exact same way you did as a kid.
100%.
So,
I've
granted,
fought
yeah,
that my whole life.
you were a shitbag from time. And when I say shitbag, a lot of people are like, "What the fuck's the word shitbag mean?"
This motherfucker just called his friend a
A
fucking shit bag.
shitbag, yeah, exactly. There's a difference between a shitbag and a shit truck. A shit truck hauls all the shitbags. Shitbags aren't necessarily bad people; they're just people who make bad decisions from time to time. So technically, we're all shitbags.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be the shit truck,
You just don't want to. People don't want to admit it.
right? But yeah, absolutely. I mean, every kid I think needs their ass beat.
Yeah,
It just
makes a world difference. But don't get the word wrong of beating your kid's ass.
no.
You know,
I think everybody's afraid to do it now because child protective services are such a big thing.
big thing.
Before,
It's
my dad was
huge.
like, "You want to call child protective services? Because I'll dial the number
Go
for
for
you."
But back then, you know, paddles was a thing.
Oh, my dad loved his paddle.
You
I
know,
hated it. And now my
schools
dad
have
gave me,
paddles.
yeah, my dad gave me the paddle he used on me, and I was so thankful for it. I was like, dude, I appreciate that.
You know, it's not like today. You know, God forbid. You know, it's not. Look, I don't whoop my kids' ass every day. I don't.
Right.
It's been a long time since I whooped my kids, but it's the fact that they know you're serious.
Oh,
And if
absolutely.
they fuck up, it's coming, and they learn from that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not being scared. They just don't. They avoid getting in trouble.
Exactly,
and
because
they
your kids know the
they
consequences.
know
That
the
when things bad,
consequences.
you have to teach your kids that there's consequences for every action, good or bad, and you have to
Yes.
be willing. If you're going to roll the dice with a police officer,
Yep.
you have to be willing to roll the dice and take those consequences. Same with any other life choice that you do. If you're going to roll the dice, there's consequences.
Yep.
Are you going to cash out or are you going to lose everything?
Right.
It's up to you.
Yes, sir.
And you're the only one that can make that choice.
Choices. That's what it comes down to.
Well, listen, guys, this has been another great episode with Stevens. Man, I appreciate you so much, and I definitely look forward to doing this again if you're down to do it again. We've been running an hour on the last podcast. This one ran long for an hour too, but thank you guys so much for sticking it out with us. Stevens, thank you again.
Hey, no problem, man.
For
It's been
everything.
a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun, and we're definitely going to have to do this again sometime. But until next time, guys, I appreciate you all. Like, share, and comment this podcast. Get it out so everybody can hear it. And until next time, guys, Stevens,
Stay wobbled.
stay wobbled, bitch.